I'm Tawnee with Create Your Cruise. For those of you I haven't met before, if I have, nice to see you again. Thanks for joining us. And we have Mary here with us today. Some of you may recognize her as we've done plenty of presentations for you as well. So hi, Mary. Thanks for joining us.
Hey everybody, thanks so much for joining us this afternoon. I'm excited. I'm so excited we're going to talk about expeditions. I absolutely love our expedition ships and our itineraries. So I want to get right into it
Well, if
and
you
talk
guys have
about
questions while she goes, throw those in that Q&A or that chat box and I'll answer as we go.
excellent. Yes, type in your questions. We will be happy to answer those. Just kind of a reminder at the beginning, I always like to talk about who Viking is so you kind of understand who we are as a brand. These are words that you think of when you think of Viking. We have a couple of like branded things. We are designed for the thinking person. We explore the world in comfort. I'm sure you've seen those words when you've seen things about Viking. Kind of those keywords you think about with Viking is small ships. We're destination focused, understated elegance. So that really just means we are considered a luxury level cruise line. We just never use that word luxury because we don't want people to think it's stuffy. So we say we are casually elegant or it's an understated elegance. So casual atmosphere, that luxury level service. Very quiet and calm. The ships are all very quiet, very calm. We're all English speaking, so 90% of our guests are coming from North America. We only market in English speaking countries. The other 10% are usually from Australia, New Zealand, UK area. We're really a family feeling among staff. Many of our, especially our executives, have been around for since the beginning. We actually just made an announcement that our founder and CEO, Torstein Hagen, he started our company almost 29 years ago. Incredible mind. He's still going to be around kind of as chairman of the board, but our president, Leah, she has now been moved into that CEO position. She's been around for 20 plus years. So really, really great
Exciting.
family feeling among our staff. It's very family oriented, extensive enrichment and all inclusive. So lots of inclusions with our brand. So things that make us stand apart a little bit, we are no children. So no one under the age of 18 on any of our cruises. We also don't have casinos on board. So I know we're talking about expedition. There are a couple of expeditions that have small little casino areas, but even like on our ocean ships, no casinos or anything. We just don't want our people to feel like they're being nickeled and dined. We'll go over through these other things as we go along about some other inclusions, but those are the main things to remember. No children under 18, no casinos, no nickel and diming. So just as a reminder for all the different things that we have our river ships, which is where we started 29 years ago, 190 guests on most of those long ships. We started that, many years ago, 29 years ago. Almost all those ships look exactly the same. There's a few differences on a couple of rivers, but most of them are 190 guests. Then we moved into our ocean ships in 2015. So 16 years of ocean cruising, 930 to 998 guests. We're at 12 ships sailing right now. We have another 10 that have been announced between now and 2033. So we're continuing to grow on ocean. We have our 2 expedition ships, which is what we're going to focus on. But exciting news came out about 2 months ago. We are building 2 more expedition ships. So we'll be at 4 expedition ships in the next 5 years, and then our 1 Mississippi ship. So we can go all over the world with Viking. We talked a little bit about kind of those keywords when we talk about Viking, but we really are not everything to everyone. We are very, very destination oriented. So everything we do on the ship and off the ship, we really encompass you in that destination. As we look at pictures of the ship, we're going to talk about how we use that ship to really immerse you in the destination that we are in. We have incredible staff on board. It's interesting to watch a staff kind of come together. I was on one of our river ships at the beginning of the season in March, and most of the crew that came on that ship were brand new to working together. Not new to Viking, but new to working on that ship together. And to watch them come together as a family and become so efficient, it was incredible. Our ships are beautiful. but our crew are even better than the ships. They do such an incredible job taking care of our guests. There, it's just absolutely incredible. So let's look at the ship. So two ships currently, the Octantis and the Polaris. These are polar class ships, so they were built to go to the polar regions. There are 378 guests on board this ship. Maximum occupancy in each stateroom is just 2 people. So really beautiful ships. Here we are in Antarctica on the Octantis, and then there is the Polaris, identical. So couldn't tell you the difference between them, just the name on the outside. Just kind of as a breakdown of the Polaris and Octantis, 378 guests, 260 crew, it's 30,000 gross tons. So really just such a beautiful ship. One thing that makes a little bit of a difference in our ships, and I don't think I put a slide in here about this, is the way that the ship is built. We've got stabilizers, special fins to really keep it very stable, especially when you're going in that polar air class, those polar regions. It helps with the stability and rolling of any waves or anything. And we have a positional system that we don't always have to drop anchor. It keeps us in place. So lots of great technology that's happening on board the ships. So things that you think about Viking and that peace of mind, you're unpacking one time. So one time you're unpacking and then you're able to go and see these different places, which is so great. And you're journeying with like-minded guests. So I mentioned we really focus on those English-speaking travelers, but those that are really kind of that focus is 55 plus. That doesn't mean we don't see people younger on board. We absolutely do. I feel like we're tending to see more and more younger people on board. But we're focused on those that are curious. They have curious minds. They want that cultural insight. They want personal enrichment. We're going to talk about some of the special things that we have on our expedition ships that make them very unique to our regular ocean cruises. So really we focus on those like-minded guests. That's that part of the why we mostly focus on North America, because we want people to be thinking about the same things, have the same kind of likes and interest. Impeccable service on board. Really, we say we have that modern luxury on board. It's kind of like a floating hotel. Very, as I mentioned, very quiet on board. That tagline I talked about at the beginning, for the thinking person. So it's all about traveling to explore, learn, and understand. That's very much at the heart of our expedition cruises. It is all about traveling to explore, learn, and understand. Most of the time, you're not going to have big entertainment like, shows or anything. It's going to be lectures and hands-on experiences. So it's really learning about the nature, the culture, the science, the history of that destination that we're in. Even before you travel, we do have some great tools for you. And I feel like people just miss this part. And I'm constantly telling people, don't forget to click on the resources tab. If you happen to be on the Viking website and you're looking at your itinerary and you're like, I'm going to Antarctica and I just want to take a look at my itinerary. There is a tab. There's 3. There's one that says overview, then itinerary, and then there's another one that says resources. That resources tab has films. It has cultural videos. It has recommended reading for the area that you're going to. So take a look at that resources tab. It really gets you excited about the destination that you're going to. And I feel like people forget that tab, but it's really great. Lots of great onboard activities, daily briefings, lectures. We have working scientists. We'll get into that a little bit more. And then our onshore activities, you're going to assist in some of the field work that we're doing. You're going to interact with our expedition guides. So lots of great things happening on our expedition ships. Now, we do have some exclusive partnerships. So we have the Viking Research Advisory Committee. So we have the former director of the Scott Polar Research Institute, leads several scientific institutions. That's part of our research advisory committee. So we do a lot of research on our ships. We partner with the University of Cambridge with their Scott Polar Research Institute. We bring on typically 2 science students from the University of Cambridge that are doing field work. They're working on their doctorates. They're sharing their expertise with our guests. There have been many scientific papers written by these University of Cambridge students while they're on board our ships. We have these great science labs. That's where you see this picture here, where our guests can go and spend time with these scientists as they're doing this field work. We also work with the Cornell Lab of Ornithology, and we collect data for their bird observation database. So we interact with the guest and all of that. So lots of great bird watching. When you're on the ship, there's this really beautiful, there's these beautiful birds that are in this section of what we call Expedition Central. And those birds actually had to get approved by the Cornell Lab of Ornithology to look completely accurate to the bird itself. So very, very accurate fake birds on the ship. But so much great enrichment on board. They really were designed just to be research vessels and allow our guests to come and be a part of that. We also do have weather balloons. So that's part of our weather station. So we launch weather balloons once a week for the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. I believe there's just over 100 spots in the world that work with the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration in launching these weather balloons. We have 2 of those. So we launch those. That balloon stays up for about 2 hours in the air. Our guests help us launch those balloons. Then all that information is fed back to our ship, and we tell our guests all about it. There's a whole event where you can come and learn all about what we've learned from that weather balloon launch. So lots of great scientific partnerships. Our hangar, just a really great place. It's an industry first. We have this in-ship marina that's got our slipway with all of our boats and everything. I think I might have a picture to show you of that. But all of our stuff is housed in the belly of the ship in this hangar area. And then our science lab, you saw a little picture of that. I'll show you a little more about that. That is our kind of our theater area, our auditorium for you. And then as far as what's included, so you're going to have 1 shore excursion to every port of call. So depending on whether you're doing something like Antarctica or the Great Lakes, you will have 1 shore excursion or landing included. So if you're in Antarctica, it's a landing every day. Now, we'll get into that when we get into Antarctica, how we do the landings. So 1 shore excursion every day. We've got free Wi-Fi. So everyone's getting that same premium level Wi-Fi. But remember, there's a little like cross there, asterisk, and it says connection speed may vary. Remember where you are in the world. So connection is the best that we can get from our satellite. It is the best Wi-Fi that you can get on a ship. But also remember, you could be in Antarctica and it may not be as great as it is at home. But we do have the best Wi-Fi that we can get you. All of your meals, beer, wine, and soft drinks with lunch and dinner. So lunch and dinner, we've got you covered with your beer, wine, and soft drinks. Now, if you want to have a drink outside of lunch and dinner hours, you can go to the bars and lounges. We have those open for you. You have a couple of options. You can either just buy your drinks a la carte, or you can do the unlimited beverage package. I think we see more people, especially like in Antarctica, do the unlimited beverage package, just because when we are going to someplace other than Antarctica, like maybe say you're on the Great Lakes, you're stopping in places where you can pick up local beer and wine and bring that back on board, but that's not something you can do in Antarctica. So if you want to have the unlimited beverage package, you can purchase that. It is $27 per person per day. So that is an option. You also have 24-hour specialty coffees, teas, bottled water available for you. That's taken care of. Enrichment lectures and destination performances, your ground transfers if you use our air. Then things that are on our expedition ships that are kind of unique to the expedition ships. We do have a beautiful spa area. I'm going to show you a picture of that. The spa area is included. So that is that hydrotherapy circuit. It's included. Spa treatments, of course, are additional, but we do have this beautiful spa that you can feel free to use as much as you'd like. We also have alternative restaurant dining, no extra charge for that. I'm going to show you those restaurants. 24-hour room service is included. We do have self-service laundrettes. So I I recently saw a video of someone going to the laundry on another cruise line, and it was the longest video of them walking down all these hallways and down these stairs to get to this beautiful, it was a beautiful laundry room, but it was not, there wasn't one on every floor. So we have laundry rooms on every guest floor. And we have washers and dryers. We have an allergen-free, dye-free laundry detergent that's there for you to use as well. So if you want to do laundry on your own, you can. It is included, or you can send your laundry off to be taken care of. Depending on the room category you're in, you may have laundry included, but some of the lower categories do not have that included. The kayak, Zodiac, special operation boats, I'm going to show you a picture of that. And then everyone on those polar itineraries, so maybe you're going to Antarctica or the Arctic, you will get an expedition jacket. So if you're going to a polar region, we're giving you an expedition jacket for you to take home with you. You've got waterproof pants, trekking poles, and boots that we will include for you to use while on the cruise. So you just need your base layers when you go to those polar regions. So let's look at the ship. So here is the beautiful atrium area. So typically this is the space you kind of walk into. So you walk onto the ship and then walk right here into the atrium. It is just a beautiful space. This is the aula. So this is that auditorium area that we've been talking about. So I didn't have a good picture of it to show you, but there's a video that's kind of long that shows this screen that comes down. But it can be all open like this, and it's beautiful. Here we are with our guest in doing these incredible presentations here. And you can kind of see at the top of that picture, there's something kind of white, and it looks kind of like a ceiling. That's actually our screen. So that screen can actually come down and it covers that whole front area where all of the windows are. And then all those windows have like blinds that come down that turn into paintings, to these paintings from like Norway. So it can be very dark in there as well. But this is where we do our lectures. Now, when we're in Antarctica and the Arctic, it is, this space is used for lectures and for forums and things like that. On the Great Lakes, we do have light entertainment in the evening. We do still use this for lectures, but we do have a small entertainment team in the Great Lakes. So we have our entertainment manager and a couple of other musicians that might put on a little variety cabaret type show for you, and then a destination performance from someone local that's there in the Great Lakes area. So a little bit different in the Great Lakes, but this is where all of that is done. And then you have Finza Terrace. This is our little outdoor seating area with our bonfires. There's actually 2 little fire pit areas. That beautiful space there on Finza Terrace. You've got the Explorer's Lounge. So if anybody's ever seen the Viking ocean ships, many areas of our expedition ship look a lot like our ocean ships. So this is the Explorer's Lounge. We have this on our ocean ships as well. It's a 2-story lounge, beautiful space. We have a beautiful grand piano here in this area, and we'll do some entertainment here in the evening, someone playing the piano, maybe the violin. And you can sit and have some drinks and see the beautiful views here in the Explorer's Lounge. Our living room area, this is something we have also on our ocean ships. Just a beautiful, quiet place to sit and relax, surrounded by books. You can feel free to grab a book and read that while you're on your journey. But nice, quiet, relaxing place. We do have several different games and things people like to do, game boards. There's always a table that's set up where people are working on a puzzle, and it's funny, you'll see people like walk by and they'll grab one piece, say, oh, I found that piece, and then put it in and then walk away. So that's always a fun thing that people do on board, some different little tables, digital tables with games and things. So this is kind of your hub of activity and mingling with guests in the living room area. Then just a little view of our open deck area. So this is up on the top deck, lots of nice lounge chairs and tables to sit and relax. Sometimes we will do, like in the Great Lakes, they will take this area and make it like, they'll do like a barbecue out in this area and have a nice little outdoor grill type situation for lunch out in the open deck. And then Aquavit Terrace. So this is, we always have an Aquavit Terrace. This is our little sitting area for the Aquavit bar. There are some tables outdoors. We do have more tables indoors than on what you typically see on a Viking ship on the expedition ships, just because it is a polar class ship. So people are spending more time, in those polar regions. So we want them to be nice and cozy and warm. This is that beautiful spa area I was telling you about. So this is included. You can feel free to use this as much as you like. I believe it's usually open from 8 to 8, but great space here. Just like if you've been on our ocean ships, you've got the same kind of thing with the thermal pools. But on the ocean ships, you have a snow grotto where there's snow that's kind of all around you. On this ship, it's a snow shower. So you step in and snow falls on you instead of water. So something kind of unique. But this is, again, included. You don't need to make a spa treatment or appointment or pay for it for the week. You can come here as much as you'd like. And then Expedition Central. So this is unique to our expedition ship. So this is where our expedition guides are. So on our expedition cruises, you usually have 20 to 25 expedition guides on board. So they are there to guide you and spend time with you. They're doing all kinds of field research. This is where you'll find them when they're not out doing landings. You can schedule time to have dinner with them. You can schedule time to have lunch with them. You'll often find them in places throughout the ship, and they'll just sit and relax with you. Here is the other section of Expedition Central. Actually, the birds you see there behind you and the penguins and things, those are the birds from the Cornell, the Cornell Lab of Ornithology that we had to get approved. So in this specific area, there is like a little photo area set up. So you can take Photoshop classes here, all kinds of different classes, science classes here in this area of Expedition Central. And I should mention for those that love coffee, on the other side of that little bar where you see kind of that ship there, that's where you will find the coffee station with lots of specialty coffees to choose from if you need a quick pick-me-up. And then here's that beautiful lab area. We saw a smaller picture of this earlier, but this kind of sits above the hangar of the ship where all of the equipment is. So this is one of our science students that's showing some things that he's going to be working on for a collection with our guests. So those are a couple of our guests there with him. So unique things on board the ship. This is the storage area of the hangar. So this is leading into the hangar. So oftentimes you'll see like the expedition jackets and things are in this area. And then as far as equipment on board, you've got your Zodiac. So that's what we use to go and do the landings in Antarctica. We also will at times use this in the Great Lakes. Some of the places we pull in the Great Lakes, there's not really a dock. So we are using those Zodiacs to pull in to those little more remote areas on the Great Lakes. Our kayaks, these are included. So a lot, not a lot, but some of the expedition cruise lines do not include the kayaks. We do. So you can take those kayaks out if you'd like. The 2 6-seater submarines. So there's 2 submarines on each ship. So they are 6 people and a pilot. These are not included. So there is a cost for this to take the subs down. They go down for about 30 minutes. About 30 minutes in the dive. But you do, just as an FYI, you do have to go through a little they say a fitness test, but it's basically, can you squat? Can you lift your leg? They just want to make sure you can get in and out of the sub. So it's a very simple test. They do weigh you because you have to, they need to balance the sub. So they'll tell you which seat you're going to sit in. And then we have our 2 12-seater special operation boats. I love these boats. I think I have a bigger picture of this to show you in a moment. This is something unique that we have. We have 2 of these on each ship, and they are this military grade boat. It was actually built for the military for Norway. And so they're a very sturdy boat. Someone on the ship recently told me this, and I said, oh, well, that's an interesting fact. So I just share it with people now because I never knew this. These ships are actually built for the Norwegian military to be dropped from a helicopter into the water. So they're very stable. We are not doing that tour. You will not find that tour in our itineraries, but that's just how stable these boats are. And I love that we have them because often, and Tawnee and I were kind of talking about this, you often will be talking to someone about going to Antarctica. You'll be talking to a couple, and one person in that couple really wants to go to Antarctica, and then the other person has to go with them to Antarctica. And maybe the thought of getting in the Zodiacs day one makes them a little nervous. And I understand that. So, they don't, maybe it's colder, it's open air in the Zodiac. Whereas you see, we have that covering on the special operation boats. So you can go out in these special operation boats and maybe you feel a little bit more comfortable. You're not going to be able to do the landings in Antarctica, but it's going to get you a little closer to land. It's going to get you off the ship. So I do love that we have this option for those guests that maybe don't want to go out and do a landing in the Zodiac. Here we are in the sub. So you've got your sub. It comes out off the side of the ship. This is also how we load the Zodiacs, is off the side of the ship. There's a whole, it looks different than this when we load the Zodiac, and there's a whole platform and things. You've got people helping you. But just, people often ask, like, how do the subs work? This boat that you see out in the water here, that's like a boat that always stays above the submarine and is in constant contact with the submarine. So that's our special boat to help with those submarine launches. So you're always in great hands in those submarines. And then here's that hangar area that I told you I'd show you a picture of. This is where we house all the Zodiacs. This is where the special operation boats are. Here it is on this ramp, getting ready to go down into the water. So really unique area down in the hangar. I love going down and seeing all of the equipment that we house there. And then here we are headed out in the special operation boats. You can see just this great sturdy boat with the coverings. It cuts back some of the chill and everything, but this is what we'll do to go do some scenic sailing in the afternoon. And then here is our main dining restaurant. It's called The Restaurant. So just like on all of our other Viking ships, the main dining restaurant is the restaurant. Now, one thing that is a little unique on the expedition ships versus our river or ocean ships, you do need to make a reservation for the restaurant. And it's just because it's not as big as the restaurant on the ocean ships. Doesn't mean you won't be able to eat there. You absolutely will. We just do look for you to make reservations here just to kind of help with the flow of things. Manfredi's is one of our specialty restaurants, actually our only specialty restaurant. But this is our Italian restaurant that we have over on our ocean ships. Fresh made pasta. Again, it is included. You just need to make a reservation. Part of the reason that these spaces are a little smaller than what you see like on our ocean ships is because the World Cafe. The World Cafe, if you're familiar with our ocean ships, this is what we have also on our ocean ships for our buffet. The World Cafe always has that same regional menu that you will find in the restaurant. So those items that you find on the regional menu in the restaurant, you will also find in the World Cafe. We also do the fresh made sushi here. We have a sushi bar, just like you actually see them making the sushi on the expedition ships. So a lot of our guests, just with the nature of expedition cruising, a lot of our guests just want to eat quicker on an expedition cruise. So many of them just choose to go to the World Cafe versus sitting down for a longer period of time for, say, the restaurant. So we just find that a lot of our guests like to go to the World Cafe, especially like in Antarctica. So beautiful space, though, here in the World Cafe. Then your other dining option would be Momsen's Norwegian Deli. So this is where you're going to find those Norwegian delicacies, some great sandwiches, Norwegian waffles in the morning, some split pea soup in the evening. So if you want a little Norwegian snack, you can get that here at Momsen's Norwegian Deli. Again, all the food is included, so you do have this included. And then, of course, you do have 24-hour room service included. So if you would want to have room service in your room, you can do that. So I want to make sure I point out how our balconies are done. So you're in a polar region, so you may not want to step outside. So Our ships have what are called Nordic balconies. So this is a floor to ceiling window. You're going to see a little bit of better picture of it here in a moment. But the top of that window comes down and it creates a railing. So you can open it up if you'd like, or you can have it closed. This is your lowest room category. So this is your deluxe Nordic balcony stateroom. So that floor to ceiling window, again, you can push that button, the top of that can come down. We've created this little interior type balcony for you. So you do have a nice little place to sit and look at the views while staying warm. Your next step up from that would be the Nordic penthouse. So it's a little bit bigger, 50 square feet bigger. You've got this beautiful little area with your table and chairs. So a little bit different configuration. You can't see it, but you've still got that little couch area kind of back behind that bookshelf type thing you have there next to your bed. So that's your Nordic penthouse. And then you have your Nordic junior suite. So your Nordic junior suite is where you get a separate, kind of bigger separate seating area. So you have your little bedroom area and then this little kind of seating area with your couch and your chair, table, all of that. Your desk is over in that area. So a little bit bigger stateroom there with the Nordic junior suite. From there, we go up to our Explorer Suite. This is one of our most popular rooms, actually. So the Explorer Suite, a little bit different. You've got that living room area, beautiful living room area. Then you have the bedroom area. In the bedroom area, I should mention you do have double sinks, just an absolutely beautiful bathroom in the Explorer Suite. I didn't have a picture of it to show you, but really beautiful area. One thing that becomes a little bit different in the Explorer Suite, and this is where you first see this, up until the Explorer Suite, everything is just that floor to ceiling window. You can't really tell it too much from this picture, but to the right of that window, there is a door and there is a small little balcony. It's kind of set back. It's not jutting out. It's set back and kind of keeps the wind out of the space. It's kind of like an alcove area. So you do have a small step out balcony. So just want to make sure you're aware of that. And then you have the owner's suite. So the owner's suite, this is the balcony area. The bedroom area looks similar. You've got a really large living room area, but the owner's suite, it's all about this outdoor area. You've got a hot tub. It is absolutely beautiful. Only one of these on each of the two ships. And then one thing that is unique, we do have the floor to ceiling drying closets. So you do have, after you've been out and about, you can put your jacket, your boots, anything that you need to dry, put it in that drying closet and the air is going to circulate and it will dry all your clothes. You don't need to worry about sitting it out somewhere to dry. It was actually at an event a few years ago and someone was talking about their heated floors and they had their stuff laying on the heated floors. It was like, no, we have drying closets. So you've got that taken care of. And I should mention, we do have heated floors as well. So just like on all of our other Viking Ocean ships, you have the heated floors and the anti-fog mirrors in the bathroom. So nice and toasty, warm floors to step out of when you get out of the shower. As far as equipment, I mentioned this before, but just to reiterate, you do get that Viking Expedition jacket whenever we are in the polar regions. So the Arctic and Antarctica, you will get that Expedition jacket. That's yours to take home. You're going to get your boots, your waterproof pants, and your walking poles. Those will be there complimentary for you to use while you're on board. And then just things suggested to purchase if you're going to a polar region, getting your backpack, getting your, your tops and your bottoms, your base layers, that net gaiter, your beanie, your waterproof gloves, your socks. So those are the things that you would need to bring with you. We've got those outer layers taken care of for you. So let's look at some cruises. So here is what we do when we're in Antarctica. So Antarctica, we have the Antarctic Explorers. So this is a 13-day cruise. This is where we first started. We actually started in the winter of 2022. I actually started with Viking in the winter of 2022, right when this ship first came out. So we are celebrating anniversaries together. So Antarctic Explorer, it starts in Buenos Aires, Argentina. So you actually fly to Buenos Aires, Argentina. That's where your journey begins. So you spend the night in a hotel. You have a hotel night included. The next day, we will put you on a charter flight and fly you to Ushuaia, Argentina. this is a small airport, and we don't want you to miss the cruise by having any kind of flight issues. So we make sure we fly you there so that you're getting on the ship in Ushuaia. Once you're on the ship, once we take off from Ushuaia, there's no catching up in Antarctica. So we got to make sure everybody gets there on time. So you get on the ship in Ushuaia, you spend a day going through the Drake Passage, then you head to Antarctica. You're going to spend 6 days there. Now, I said we're going to talk about how that works with 378 guests on board. So if you're not very familiar with Antarctica, there is a rule in Antarctica. You cannot have more than 100 people at a time on land in Antarctica in a space. So when we go to Antarctica and we go to a landing spot, we are the only ship there. There are no other cruise lines that are there. It is just our ship. And we can take 100 people at a time onto land. We have 378 guests on board. We do 4 landings a day. So we have time for every person to be able to do those landings. Now, it's always based on weather. Things can happen where we may not be able to do a landing for a day, but we do the best we can with the weather. So, but we do have the accommodations for everyone to be able to do a landing every single day. It kind of, what are you doing when you're not doing a landing? You're going out on the kayaks, or you're doing the scenic sailing on the special operation boats, or you're just exploring the ship. So you do have that landing that you get to do every single day. So we're going to do that for 6 days. We're going to head back through the Drake Passage around Cape Horn and then end up back in Ushuaia, and you'll head home from there. People do ask me about the Drake Passage, so we'll just say something about it. It can either be, I've heard these words, the Drake Lake or the Drake Shake. I have heard stories of where it's very, very calm on the Drake, but then I've also seen and heard stories of it being the Drake Shake, where it's big waves. I couldn't tell you when exactly to go that you're going to experience either one. It's kind of up in the air. It could be either one, Drake Shake, Drake Lake.
The beauty of an expedition. You don't know.
It is. You just don't know. And the thing is, if you start looking up the Drake Passage anywhere on the internet, you're going to see the Drake Shake.
Yeah.
No one's taking videos of Drake Lake. So don't think
it's 50-50 for me. I literally 50% of my guests who have done it have had no issues at all. And 50% have said, yeah, that was rough, but it was doable. Like very rarely do I get the true, like if you look at YouTube, you'll find some intense videos. Very rare to see.
People like to record the intense, not that it's okay. So just know when you see things like that, just as you see every other thing and every other review you see in life, you're going to see those things that are a little intense. So just keep that in mind. It's not always that way. As Tawnee said, she gets kind of 50-50 from her clients. So just keep that in mind. And then here we are, just kind of, if you like to see that visual of the map, here we are as we head to Antarctica and what that looks like. And then other things that we're doing. So we started the Arctic. So it was always Antarctica and Great Lakes. And we're going to get into the Great Lakes in just a moment. But we started last year in July going to the Arctic. So going up to the Arctic Circle. So there's 3 different itineraries. So we do this from July to September. So when we finish up, we go to Antarctica. We're there from November until March. That's the Antarctic summer. The average temperature is 30 degrees. For anybody who lives in Florida, that's where I am. And I will tell you, there was one day this winter in Florida where it got really cold. And I decided to look and see, is it colder here or is it colder in Antarctica? And it was colder in Florida than it was in Antarctica. So average temperature is 30 degrees during that time of year. So that's when we're there. When we finish up in March, we head north and we head up to the Great Lakes. There are some different cruises. There are those transitional kind of cruises. We have longitudinal world cruises that you can do. Those are unique. We only do those like once a year, but we have those transition cruises. So when we transition, then we transition up to the Great Lakes. We spend some time in the Great Lakes, which we're going to look at. And then we pull one of the ships in July that's in the Great Lakes, and it moves up to the Arctic Circle. And it does these 3 itineraries. Canada in the Northwest Passage, Canada and Greenland Explorer, and into the Northwest Passage. So looking at the map, this is the Canada and the Northwest Passage. So this will take you, this is a great one that's going to take you up into the Arctic Circle. Really great itinerary. It is a long one though. It is 27 days. So if you have 27 days, you're going to see a lot. You're going to go to Greenland. You're going to go to Canada. You're going to go up into the Northwest Passage. So great itinerary for 27 days. For 2 weeks, you can do the Canada and Greenland Explorer. So this one's going to take you just to Greenland. So not fully up into that Arctic Circle. So this is a great one, but it's going to take you to Nook, which is a great space to go to, but this is not nearly as long. If you want to get really up into Beachy Island, up into the Arctic Circle, you can go to Nook and do a Nook round trip. So this is into the Northwest Passage, 13 days. It's going to take you up into the Arctic Circle. Really great itinerary. Nook is really remote. So it's a lot like the Antarctic Explorer, where we have to fly you to Ushuaia. We actually fly our guest into Nook on a charter flight because, again, it's a small airport. So it's a similar situation as to what you experience with the Antarctic Explorer. But really great itinerary. And it's such a great way to see, the Arctic Circle. Now, I do have guests that sometimes say, I want to do the Arctic Circle and I want to do it Antarctica. That is an option for you. You can do from the Arctic to Antarctica. It's like, I believe 82, 83 days long. And you can do both the Arctic and Antarctica all in one cruise. It's just a very long cruise. So that is an option for you as well. So we do this from July to September. And then we have, let's see, here we go. Then we have the Great Lakes. So we do visit all 5 Great Lakes through the summertime. So this was the Welland Canal, and it's just a unique story. And sometimes I wonder, I've been with Viking almost 5 years now, and you hear stories and you're like, where did I hear that story? Is that a real story? Is that something someone fabricated and made up to me? But then I hear it again, and I heard it from our chairman of the board, Torstein Hagen, one of our co-founders. He actually told this story on CNBC's on Mad Money just a few weeks ago. And I listened to that video yesterday, and he was talking about this story about the Welland Canal and wanting to go to the Great Lakes. And the Welland Canal was how we were going to get into some of the Great Lakes. And when we were building the ship, we realized that the ship was actually 2 feet too wide to get through this canal. So we had to go back and go to the designer of the ship and say, hey, we need to shave off 2 feet because we've got to get through this canal. So we make it through. There's about a 2-foot clearance on each side. But we were so determined we were going to get into the Great Lakes and get through the Welland Canal that we had to kind of change the schematics of the ship a little bit. So it is actually a true story. I feel like it was urban legend, and then I actually hear it from the co-founder himself. So here we are through the Welland Canal, headed to the Great Lakes. We do visit all 5 Great Lakes throughout the summer. So May to September, we are in the Great Lakes. Several different itineraries to choose from. I highlighted a couple to show you for the sake of time. The Canadian Discovery, this is a New York to Toronto, 13-day cruise. It's just a great one to see. That's going to take you all through Canada. Love this itinerary. And then you have, here we are for those that like to see the map. And then Niagara and the Great Lakes, you go from Toronto to Milwaukee. Now, keep in mind, people will often say to me, oh, I want to do the Great Lakes because it's close to home and I won't have to fly. You could, in theory, drive, yes. But when you drop your car off in Toronto, you will not have a car when you get off the ship in Milwaukee. So just keep that in mind. There are, you could do a back-to-back and try. Sometimes they'll connect in a way where you could get back to Toronto. There's like one that is a round trip, I think a round trip Milwaukee. Most, though, are going to start in one place and end in another. So you're still going to want to fly to start in one place and end in the other. But beautiful itineraries, like this one's going to hit your urban places like Detroit, but then you're going to go to a beautiful place like Mackinac Island. So, really beautiful things to see in North America. I have done myself a couple of ship tours in some places that were a little remote that I probably shouldn't have gone to go see the ship, but just beautiful spaces throughout North America that you just don't even think about being in North America, but great things to see. Oh, we're not changing. Here we go. So that's it for itineraries and things. I want to make sure I tell you about some sales and then we'll see if there's any other questions. So we are still in our spring sale that is going to end at the end of the month. And this is $25 per person deposit. We do have, we always say, you know, up to free international airfare. People are often asking me, what does that look like? There are specific selected sailing dates that do have some free economy air. So it is selected dates. In looking at them, I have seen a few dates for 2026 with that free international airfare, but we are 92% full for 2026. So there's not a lot of space left for 2026 if you are looking for that. You know, you can take a look at that and see if that's there. We do have up to 30% off, and some of those do have that free economy air. We do have great air pricing because we have some great contracts, which is really important right now because air pricing is going up with the fuel prices going up. But our prices are still low because we had those contracts and prices locked in. So really, you might want to take advantage of that. Now is the time to take advantage of that because now you've got that price locked in.
You make a
And
good
then,
point there.
yeah, for sure. Additionally, if you book with Create Your Cruise, we do have a special offer, as we always do when we have these wonderful webinars with them. Anybody that books with Create Your Cruise in the next 2 weeks, so that's by June the 2nd, you will get $100 per person shipboard credit for any new booking. So that's only if you book with Create Your Cruise. If you call up Viking and say, Mary was great and I really enjoyed talking to her, and she says I get $100 per person, they have no idea who I am. So you got to call Create Your Cruise to make sure you take advantage of that special offer.
Absolutely. And that's going to be just, by the way, for any bookings that you make with Viking. So that's expedition, river, ocean, wherever you want to go in the world, Viking takes you there. And we are happy to offer that onboard credit to give you a little something extra to spend on board. We do have someone with their hand raised. Karen, I'm going to hit allow to talk so you can ask your question. And you'll have to unmute yourself, Karen. Are you there? You're unmuted, but I can't hear you.
You hear me?
There you are. Yes,
Yeah.
now we can hear you.
Yeah, you already answered my question. I just
Oh,
enjoy solo travel. So yeah.
okay. Yeah. So she had Mary a question about solo travelers. So I was
Oh,
explaining
gotcha.
that you don't have solo accommodation. So for anyone else who's interested in that, that there are not solo accommodations on Viking. There's small ships, there's limited space. So you guys really maximize that and it's well thought out design. But we very rarely see the solo rates just because Viking sells full. So
Yep.
you will essentially be paying for a full cabin, whether you're one or two guests, but it's an incredible experience. Peter wants to know about booking flights to Nook. So flying to Nook for the Arctic
Yes.
Circle. Yes.
Yeah. So it's a little difficult because you're right. There is just the one. So what we actually do is we are actually flying our guest from Newark to Nook. So we take care of that flight because it is a challenge, definitely. So we take care of that for you.
And like you said, there's a lot of like generally you'll see coming home from Nook a flight directly to Newark. So that's usually the most popular route. You guys will either charter a plane, depending on the
Yep.
situation, or United Airlines flies that route. So that's what you'll
Exactly.
often see for that particular itinerary. Yes.
Yep. Exactly.
Okay, do we have any more questions? You can put them in the Q&A box if you don't want to talk, or you can raise your hand if you do. And in the meantime, I just want to say something that I feel like is so unique about the expeditions is that every single one is different. So there a million opportunities to have a different experience depending on where you want to go. And going into those Great Lakes, if you haven't seen the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, it is gorgeous, gorgeous. Some of the most photo-worthy places you'll see. So it's worth looking at all those opportunities with Viking on the expeditions.
Absolutely.
Oh, I have
Okay,
one question.
perfect.
I have one question. On the, you have the one going to South Georgia, Stanley, South Georgia, and Antarctica. You also have that cruise?
Yes, we do.
And how much is that one? For, I guess, what, 2028 or 2029?
It depends on the dates and all of it in all different occupancies. If you're booking 2028, I don't know if you have 2029 yet available, but
Not yet.
there's some 2028 options where you're likely to find the best rates, but we'd have to reach out to us. Give us a call here at the 855 phone number you see on your screen, and we can go over those options for you, give you starting from prices and inclusions so you understand the full scope.
All right, thanks. And do they have any of those pre or post tours open? I think it's like they had some for Nook, no, for Easter Island. Do they still have that open for 2028 or 2027?
It will all depend on the sailing you
Easter
choose.
Island.
So it's not something I can just pull up for you right now and take a look at it. I'd have to look at all the dates, but I'm happy to do so. So we'll do that for you, but I can't do it for you right here because it would take me about 15 minutes.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Yeah, of course. We have to, do you want us to have someone give you a call?
I got your number already. So give me
All
a
right,
call
perfect.
for
Sounds
the-
good.
all right.
Perfect. Thank you much. All right, do we have any other questions? Perfect. All right. Well, I hope everyone had a fantastic time learning about expedition cruises. If you have not done one, make sure you do add that to your bucket list. It's an incredible experience between the birds and the wildlife and all the nature opportunities. There's always something to see and do, and we look forward to helping you plan out create your cruise. And Mary, as always, thank you for joining us. And if anybody wants to watch this again, we'll be posting it on our YouTube channel tomorrow.
Can you stay behind? I have a question for you.
Sure.
You mentioned I can go to Arctic first and then go to Antarctica. Is it in the same ship? And you
Yes.
take
It is.
82 days? How does it work? So where should I fly to first?
So it's basically, Mary, it's a giant repositioning cruise, right? Like
Yeah.
you'll finish out that last sailing in Antarctica and then you'll stay on the ship as it moves throughout the Atlantic and pops up into the Arctic area. So it's a very long cruise, but
Yeah.
you can absolutely get on it and do the whole Antarctica experience on that very last sailing and then basically
Yeah.
stay on that ship.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see. So it's 2 trips together in
Correct.
one sailing. That's
Yeah.
good. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course.
Okay.
Great question. Thank you for asking that. All right, perfect. We will let everyone go then. Thank you again for joining us. Reach out to us if you have any planning needs for any cruises or land trips, but particularly for those expeditions and with Viking, our fantastic partners. Thank you again.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a good
Bye.
night.